Hey there, Bookkeeping Side Hustle community. Glad to have y'all here. We are excited to have an interview today with two representatives from BELAY Solutions, and we're going to talk about job opportunities at BELAY. If you're watching this, go ahead and chime in on the chat. Let us know where you're from, just so we can make sure sound is working. And hit that subscribe button if you're watching later on. Let me see. Throughout the month of August, we are featuring these bookkeeping positions at BELAY, and we're going to, this is going to be the most of the deep dive into the content of what it's like to work there. That's the purpose of this interview. Throughout the month, though, we'll be having support from people at BELAY in the Get Hired subgroup of the Bookkeeping Side Hustle Group. Hopefully a recruiter will be in there and be able to answer any questions you have. A link to that group will be below in the description. And feel free to connect if these jobs interest you. I want to ask our guests to introduce themselves. I'd like to start with Madison. Please tell us where you're from, your role at BELAY, how long you've been there, the whole thing.
Yeah, hello, Bookkeeping Side Hustle. Thanks for having BELAY today. We're so excited to be here. A little bit about me. I am the Talent Acquisition Manager here at BELAY. And so what that means is I lead our team of recruiters. And so the wonderful team that would get to meet any of you that might be interested in being employed here at BELAY, I get to serve and lead those ladies. So love working here at BELAY. A little bit about me personally. I am a wife and a mom. I have a 2-year-old son and a little girl on the way. So growing my family over here. And thank you. And I think that is truthfully one of my favorite things about BELAY is that I have the opportunity to serve with the most amazing people, but I also have the flexibility to have a job and a life and enjoy both. So that's a little bit about me. I'll kick it over to Susan.
Yes, Susan, let us know about you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Susan McIntyre, and I'm in Cumming, Georgia, which for those of you who may not be familiar with the Atlanta area, I'm north, kind of in between 75 and 85, if you know that part of Georgia. I've been here for about 34 years after being raised and educated in Texas. I came out here with a career.
Woo-hoo! I'm a Texan.
All right. We won't even talk about the colleges because I probably would. Never mind. I won't go there. This is talking about bookkeeping. Let's keep focused. Yes. So I've been with BELAY for a little over 2.5 years, and I absolutely love it. I had a 30-year career in a healthcare software company and also worked as an office manager, bookkeeper for my church for a while. But I've always been on the general financial side of things, general accounting side of things, love bookkeeping. And the thing about BELAY is getting to work with people like Madison. I mean, we all care about each other. We care about our contractors. We care about our clients. And that's my role as a client success consultant, is basically to stand in the gap. I'm on the front line. I know the clients. I will have picked you for an engagement and stay close to you with the client as well. And it's all about relationships. And BELAY, we build on our core values every day. And one of our most favorite ones is fun. Yeah. And we do have a lot of fun, and we try to incorporate that in every day. And our contractor services team tries to incorporate that in for our independent contractors as well.
For sure.
Awesome. One of my stated missions in the Bookkeeping Side Hustle Group is to make accounting fun. So we're kindred spirits in that regard. Yes. Well, again, y'all ask, comment and give us a comment if you have any questions. I will be reading them, and we will get to that Q&A at the end of this. Y'all said so many things already that I want to dive into, kind of about culture, and then Susan, about your role in the whole process of like matching, and we're going to get into all that. Like, my head's kind of exploding. So if anyone else has those comments, those questions that are coming to your mind as you're listening to them talk, please type them in. But I want to go back to Madison about what is it like to work at BELAY? Y'all have both said you're from different hometowns, so I think that means that y'all are like a remote force, and then obviously these contracting jobs are remote. So just kind of like structure of the job? What are the hours? Some of the benefits, pay, equipment, training, all that. What's the beginning logistics of a new hire coming on to this company like that?
Yeah, you got it. Susan, I'll take a stab and fill in the gaps where I missed. So you nailed it. Belay is a US-based virtual staffing firm. Essentially, our vision at Belay is to help you achieve your vision. So how that plays out is we pair our clients with a variety of different roles or virtual contractors for service lines. So we have virtual assistants, we have bookkeepers, we have accounting clerks, web specialists, and social media strategists. So if you are a bookkeeper at Belay, you should know that our promise to our clients is that financials do not have to be so hard, and that if they come to us, we can pair them with a qualified professional to promise timely, accurate reports, and basically to make their finances so squeaky clean that their CPA would cry.
Good. Okay.
So our bookkeeping roles are 1099 contracted roles.
Okay.
As far as the hours, it's totally flexible, which I think is one of the huge perks about being a contractor at Belay. If you're looking for more part-time work, we've got that for you. If you want to have a full book and be more full-time, we can do that for you as well. And one of the beautiful things is that we source and find those clients for you. You join our pool of contractors, and we do our matchmaking, kind of our secret sauce here at Belay, and pair you with a client that you can support. Some of the perks, I would say, in addition to the flexible lifestyle and work hours, it's going to be, in your first 60 days, you'll be paired with a bookkeeping mentor who's going to support you and help you adjust to this virtual attack of keeping the books, specifically here at Belay. As well as that, you have the ability to serve multiple clients in various industries, all of this without having to go out and seek those clients out on your own. And then, pay, obviously. So we sell our contracts with our clients more based off of the job. So what exactly do you need your bookkeeper to do? However, if we were to boil that down to an hourly rate, you'd be looking at somewhere between $20 to $25 per hour for the work that you'd be doing here at Belay. So great pay, great flexibility, and great support. Also, once you're on board, we have an entire contractor services community here to support you in your journey. So you have a community as well as corporate team members whose role is solely to make sure that your experience here at Belay is awesome. And in addition to that, we have wonderful team members like Susan, our client success consultant, who really hold your hand throughout that whole engagement to ensure its success. So Susan, what do you have to add? What do you think I maybe missed that rocks about being a bookkeeper at Belay?
You've hit on most of the really big key things. I think each bookkeeper is different, and your load may be different from another bookkeeper's load. And we want to make sure that we capture that so that we know, Sally Sue wanted, to be almost full-time bookkeeping. Well, what does that look like? We don't really know because each client is different. So as Madison said, we sell based on the size of the client and the size and complexity of the engagement itself, but that can change over time. It can lessen, it can hopefully grow bigger as the client's business grows bigger, and we want to be fluid and dynamic and be able to do that with you. So you're going to get questions during a matching interview process about your ability to grow. And because we as client success consultants, we want to know that we put a partner in place. We're not just checking off a box saying, oh, you know how to do QuickBooks Online? Okay, that's good enough. I'm going to partner you with this client. No, we go much, much deeper than that. But we truly, truly do care for the contractors. And we, CSCs, we want to make sure that we give you the support and the tools and equip you to serve your little hearts out.
So I have a couple of very technical questions. Hours of the day. So the hours are flexible in terms of the amount you can work, but do you have to do all your work during the daylight during 9 to 5 Eastern? How if I wanted to work at 10 p.m., can I?
Absolutely. Madison, you want to
Okay.
take that, or you want me to take it?
Yeah, I think we could tag team it. So especially with the bookkeeping service line or even the accounting clerk service line, they're more flexible roles at Belay, and that, we want you available to answer questions for your client during their normal business hours. So depending on the times on your clients in. However, the nature of the bookkeeping work is you just got to get the job done, right?
Okay.
It will take so many hours throughout the month to get the job done. So Susan, you really are there in the day-to-day with our bookkeepers. I mean, what do you have to add to that?
Time zones sometimes can be important in the matching process, because we do want you to meet with your clients on a regular basis. So obviously that would be during normal working hours. We're not going to ask you to set up a regular meeting at 10 o'clock on the East Coast in the morning if you're living in Oregon and you're sitting on the West Coast at 7 a.m. We're not going to ask you to do that. But so there are actual work hour times when you have to be available. But for the most part, you work on your own time. One of our service lines, or service offerings, I should say, it's not really a service line, but our accounting clerk offering, that's a little more in the moment kind of responsiveness. But otherwise, we use something we call a virtual nod for all of our service lines. So if a client asks a question and you're not available to answer it, we just ask that you get back within an hour or two and say, hey, I got the question. I won't be back online until tomorrow, but I'll have that answer for you.
Oh, that's cool. I want to ask how that communication works, but I'm going to save that. I have more technical questions. Difference between a bookkeeper and an accounting clerk. Y'all have used both of those words.
Right. Accounting clerk is doing accounts payable and accounts receivable. So they're invoicing. So they're sending invoices to their clients so that they can get that revenue brought back in, that income brought back into the client's bank account. And AP clerk is actually going through and making sure that all the vendors are getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a portion of what a bookkeeper does, but a bookkeeper also goes a little bit further and takes care of all the reporting needs, whether it's the actual to budget report, balance sheet, income statement, depending on what type of business it is, also what type of industry that it is. And they also need to be able to understand general accounting rules, to understand how the journal entry process works, how things need to be reported, taking care of payroll, things like that. So an accounting clerk is not necessarily, the education for that can be much more taught on the job, if you will, where a bookkeeper needs to have, we would prefer to have more of a bachelor's degree of some sort in the accounting area. You don't have to be an accountant by any stretch, but have all the accounting principles and understanding, bookkeeping, why journal entries, what are credits, debits, assets, liabilities, all the acumen comes from the bookkeeper, much more so than from the accounting clerk.
All right. I want to move us along. There's one quick kind of practical question that I'll chime in. Is this opportunity available in California? So I think there are some rules about where these roles are available. So shall we address that right now? I think there's like a few states, right, that it's not available in.
Yeah, we do. We have a few states that we are not contracted with just due to legislation around 1099 contractors in those states. I can pop the list into the chat if that's helpful. There's only a handful, unfortunately. If you're in one of those states, we apologize, but at this time, we're not able to contract.
Okay, y'all, and I know I've seen the list on the Belay website. So if you go to my go to bookkeepingsidehustle.com/belay. There's a link to get to their website and get to all the application stuff, and they'll find it there. But it's most of the states, and so can international people apply?
It's US-based. You have to be in the US.
All right. I want to dive into some of the more technical aspects of the job. Like when I sit down, I open my computer, and I'm going to start to work. That's what this section is going to kind of be about. Susan, I'll direct these to you, I guess, for the most part, with Madison chiming in if she wants to. What tech stack are your what tech stack are your bookkeepers using? Like, which general ledger software, and then are they using any additional apps? And I'm kind of asking this because as they go through Morgan to then get to you, Susan, get it brought on, what skills do they need to have? What apps do they need to be familiar with, credentials, that sort of thing, like the software credentials?
Great question, because there are so many accounting applications and bookkeeping applications out there. And we don't necessarily require you to come in with QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop, but I will tell you your chances of getting an engagement are much higher with those, because that's like the Cadillac, I guess, and it's also the most commonly used application, whether it's online, which is obviously a cloud-based type application, or desktop. Now, the kicker on the desktop is that clients who want to use desktop, and clients have different reasons for using the tech stack that they choose. And some just like, and bookkeepers as well, for that matter. Some clients really like the flexibility of having a lot of people be able to access reports and do reports on their own. And other people love job costing and how powerful and rich that tool is in desktop. So if a construction company wants to use desktop, that's okay, as long as they can put it in a cloud version. And Intuit now offers a cloud version, and you don't have to source or host it yourself anymore. But we require that because we are protecting the bookkeeper and Belay from having a client's information on your personal or your work desktop or computer. We want that to be in the cloud for accessibility, because you can secure anything, but if it's not sitting on somebody's desktop, it's different. But we mostly use QuickBooks, and there's also Sage and Xero. If you're familiar with those, they're apps very similar to QuickBooks. Not as many clients use them.
Susan, I think we are picking up feedback on your mic.
Oh,
so
no.
I think it would be best if you just unplugged. Madison, are you hearing that?
Yeah, I think it's just hanging up on your shirt. If you just hold it off, we probably can hear you good.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Much better. Yes. So
so the microphone's hitting my necklace. Got it. Sorry, guys. Sorry, everyone.
But I heard you say QBO, desktop, a little bit of Sage, a little bit of Xero. What about the specialty apps? Yeah, sorry, Christina, we got that sound taken care of. Stick with us, guys.
Really, please?
The content's going to be good. So say like an e-commerce client comes and they have like Shopify, or say like a restaurant client comes and they have some Clover point of sale or something. Do you price in the bookkeepers getting to like learn that, or am I as the bookkeeper needing to know how to integrate Shopify to QBO? What about the other apps?
Great question, because Square is used for a lot of online ordering. And we've got a lot of e-commerce clients. Restaurants do use Clover for their point of sale and timekeeping for payroll and all sorts of things like that. So yes, we don't have to know how, meaning our bookkeepers, don't need to know how to use them. They need a login to be able to pull the report out so that they can post the journal entries. And that's a key thing here, maybe for the audience as well. As a bookkeeper, you're accounting for the monies that have come in or the monies that are going out. You're not making deposits and you're not writing checks.
Okay. So who's like integrating any of those apps with QBO first? I mean, are they hiring?
Most of them integrate. Most of them as a part of the tech stack. You can look on the website Expensify, which there's a lot of other receipt-like applications, PEX cards, Divvy cards, all sorts of online giving platforms for our churches. Most of them will integrate back to QuickBooks automatically, meaning that they can download those transactions as they come in. So the bookkeeper doesn't manually have to do anything and transpose numbers or whatever. But a lot of those extra applications, from our standpoint, we don't need the detail in QuickBooks. We need the summary totals for the journal entries and for the reporting. That's why the bookkeeper doesn't need to know how to run Square or how to run Clover. They just need to know how to go in and pull the information that they need.
So if I were, I mean, I've do that same thing for Shopify, although lots of times when I think some things are integrated, they're not necessarily integrated that well. And if the client has done it, they haven't done it perfectly. But anyway, let's say, oh, I forgot what my question was going to be. It was about those apps.
If there needs to be integration built or created or established, some of our bookkeepers are more technically oriented to that sort of thing than others. But there, again, I'm going to refer back to what Madison talked about, the community that you're a part of as being a part of Belay. You put a message out on the community board and say, hey, I'm trying to make Square hook up to QuickBooks. Can somebody help me? And somebody will go back to them and say, this is how you do it.
And that's what I was going to ask. It was, say I do encounter a situation, the client goes and buys something else, or I want to start using Expensify and they want to use that, and I've never used Expensify. I have support from the Belay. You said there was a mentor, and then there's this community. Because I have worked with Expensify for the first time, and that first time with any new app is always like, and I'm a solo, right? Like there's no one but me, and I'm telling my client, yeah, good, gotcha. And then I'm like, what did I just agree to do? And so that's
you got to be a part of us, Kate. If you're a part of us, you would have this whole community to work with.
That's exactly. I'm going to keep moving through our questions. How many clients does one bookkeeper have? I mean, do you start with just, like, if I come on to Belay, am I really starting with just one client, or are you going to kind of give me like a few hours a day's worth? How does that work?
One client at a time. You onboard one client at a time. So as a new bookkeeper, about every 30 to 60 days, and the client success consultant will help gauge that with our placement folks in contractor services to be sure that we're not overloading you too quickly. Success is the name of the game for everybody. And if you take on 3 clients at one time, something's going to get lost. I don't care how good you are, how organized you are. So we do limit the number you can take on at a time, but your roster can get as large, almost as large as you want it to be. Some of our bookkeepers have 10 or more clients, and that feels to us like that's about the right number. But some clients are like, I don't want to juggle more than 2 or 3. So it becomes a personal choice of how much do you want to work? How much do you want to make? And at what point have I exceeded my ability to serve well?
Mm-hmm. All right. What about, we talk about like bookkeepers and accounting firms having a niche. Is there a niche with y'all, or is it possible? Are your salesmen talking to any business, or have y'all naturally arisen towards being the such and such expert, such and such industry expert? Do y'all have a few, or is it really like any business is possible?
Any business is possible. We have more experience in some areas than others. We started, if you look back at our history, we started as a company called Mag Bookkeeping, and it was primarily churches at that time. Okay. But after we became Belay, we kind of spread our wings a little bit, and now we do as many for-profit clients, restaurants, retailers, consultants, business services, financial planners, real estate. I mean, we run the gamut of for-profit and also nonprofit organizations in addition to churches. So yes, we have a lot of churches, probably more churches on our rosters than otherwise, but it's not a niche. It just historically, once you get with us, clients stay with us.
All right. And then how do y'all handle client communications? Do the bookkeepers communicate directly? Does the mentor kind of like, or what's the communication like? Is there a specific platform you're using to communicate? Is it just email?
We ask the clients, number one, what's your preferred method of communicating? Some like the phone, some like Zoom, some hate Zoom, some will only do FaceTime, so again, that runs the gamut as well. But communication is the secret to our relationships working. So no one stands between the bookkeeper and the client. They build that relationship directly with the client or the client's designated person, depending on the type of organization. It can be an office manager, it can be the pastor, it can be the CEO, CFO. Primarily, there's one person, but I know very few of my engagements on my roster where there's really only one person interacting with the bookkeeper. So the bookkeeper has access to multiple people.
Awesome. Well, I feel like we've got a pretty good picture of life there. And so I kind of want to transition to Madison to walk us through the recruitment process. I've listened to what life at Belay is like. I'm excited. I want to apply. So can you spell out like what you're looking for in candidates, maybe that initial application versus then the steps after the application? If you make it through the written part, what happens after that? Interviews, multiple interviews. Are there any tests?
Absolutely.
Tell me how I would get brought on if this is what I wanted to do.
Absolutely. So first things first, you go to belaysolutions.com and you would click apply for the bookkeeping job. Once you've applied, there'll be an application. I think it's 15 fields long. So the basics: name, where do you live, upload your resume, cover letter, that kind of thing. And once that information's come through, we will send you a one-way video assessment for you to complete. Once that is received, we then are going to review your credentials. That's when a recruiter steps in, and they'll review your credentials to see, are you qualified to move forward? If the answer is yes, you'll move forward to a skills assessment. So we do have a bookkeeping skills assessment. It's going to test your hard skills and your ability to actually do the job. After that, if you pass that assessment, we will have you scheduled for a Zoom interview. From there, if you show up and impress, we'll contract with you and bring you on board. Once you're on board, you'll go through what we call Belay 101. It's essentially an orientation, but for 1099 contractors. And then after that, you're free to get on our job board and start looking at the various bookkeeping opportunities that we already have available. The client's actively looking for a bookkeeper. Or you may be reached out to by someone from our placement team who does that secret matchmaking sauce, or the secret matchmaking, which is our secret sauce. And they are going to be looking at both your hard skills as well as your soft skills being a match for that particular client. And that's when they'll pass you off to Susan, and she'll say, hey, yeah, I think that you'd be a great fit for the client. And then we kind of get into the day-to-day. I'd say what we're looking for. So we're going to hire ideally based off of experience. We look for someone with at least 3 to 5 years as an ideal bookkeeping candidate. For our accounting role, it's a lot more flexible. Like Susan was saying earlier, we prefer a bachelor's degree. However, we want to emphasize that soft skills are a huge part of the success here at Belay. So you will not be disqualified if you don't have 3 to 5 years or that bachelor's degree, as long as everything else looks like you're going to be a stellar candidate and serve really well. Additionally, a candidate with proven experience using QuickBooks, either online or desktops, with accounts receivable, accounts payable, journal entries, payroll, bank, credit card reconciliation. Someone who's demonstrated those skills in previous roles is going to have a better shot at moving through our process and being contracted.
I got lots of questions.
Okay.
So, actually, one thing I wanted to point out, y'all, I'm not like, one of the fields in the application is how you heard about us, and they've given Bookkeeping Side Hustle Group a line in that. So if you're applying, I would love for you to check that box, just so they know the success of this partnership that we're doing. Question: this initial video interview. So you apply, and you're going to get automatically sent back this next hurdle, which is like, are we doing like a Loom video? Do you ask us one question is it short? Is it long?
So there's 3 to 4 questions in the video. It's going to be things like, tell me how your previous experiences prepares you to be a bookkeeper here at Belay, or how would you wow your client, right? Just basics to really give you a chance to sell yourself. The paper is only part of the equation. That's your briefcase, right? So this one-way video gives us a chance to see you as a person and let you make a case for why you deserve a shot at Belay.
I think it's a really good hurdle to put in because I would be encouraged if I'm applying for these jobs, because it means if I really want these jobs, a whole lot of people are not going to even waste their time doing that harder hurdle. So be encouraged. Be encouraged by this, y'all listening. Don't be oppressed by it. Like it's a good thing if this is the job that you want. This means that this company is serious and they're not taking any Joe Schmo who can fill out can fake a written application, right? Like, so be encouraged. If you need help, if you need encouragement, if you want me to like watch your video before you submit it, I'll do that. You're not going to die. You're going to make this video, and I promise you're not going to die, and you might get on, and it'll be perfect.
For sure. And one thing to say is we're a virtual company, so that communication and the having the courage to get on this camera and show up well is important to showing us that you'll be successful when we have you do the same with a client, right? Like, what if your client wants to Zoom? One other thing though, y'all, if the video is just horrible, but everything else looks great, we'll talk to you. You can redo it. It's not a tool that we use to eliminate. It's more a tool that we use to see who's serious. Exactly like you said.
Awesome. This test. So 30 seconds or less, what's it like? Is it like Excel dummy data in a bookkeeping software, or is it more like an accounting multiple choice, like that you would have like in like more like a classroom style test, or is it all over the place? Is it soft skills too, or is it more technical?
The test is definitely more technical, and it's all of everything that you just mentioned. So we're really testing your ability to dive in and handle the books for a business. It's pretty robust. It should take you anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half to complete.
Okay.
But it really gives us insight into who can do the job and who can sit in the seat and serve well.
Are you timed? Is it a timed test?
It tracks how long it takes you, but it's not like we cut you off at 90 minutes if you haven't completed it.
Okay. Again, y'all, you won't die. You know this information. And so like, if I were to try to hire someone, I don't have these systems. I don't have a way to like do all this vetting. And this is a good thing. And again, reach out to me if you get that email back and you're like, I made it next stage. And like, I just need, obviously I can't help you with your test, but if you need that encouragement, you can do this. Timeline after someone applies, and someone, Delma asked this also, how long does the recruitment process take? If I stay home tonight, lock myself in my office and fill out the application, what kind of timeline are we talking?
Yeah, so we have a goal to have your application come in and you be contracted within 28 days here at BELAY. However, our bookkeeping service line is tracking more around 15 days. Wow. So from the day you submit your application to moving you all through those various assessments and having your in-person interview, we're looking at about 15 days.
Okay. What would make an applicant stand out above the rest? You're getting a lot of these applications, Madison. What have you seen that really takes it up a notch?
Yeah, so I think this is important for me to answer from a recruiting perspective, but also Susan from okay, you're on board, now we're matching with your client. So I'll take a stab from recruiting. Truly, soft skills that match the hard skills. So at BELAY, matching clients with the best contractor is really our secret sauce. So we found that soft skills play into that just as much, if not more than hard skills. We're going to test you. We're going to see these assessments that you can talk the talk and walk the walk and do the books for the business. But for the long-term success of that relationship, someone who can hold a conversation, communicate, follow up, be proactive. Those are some of the soft skills that we really are going to be digging into throughout our recruitment process. And so hard skills and soft skills that match are going to make you stand out above the other applicants. Susan, what do you have to add?
As you go through the application process, the CSC, we know Madison's team is not going to put somebody on the bench that doesn't know how to be a bookkeeper. Now, we are confident in the testing process and their recruiting and vetting process. So when it gets to me to be able to talk to a bookkeeper, I know what the client's personality is like. I know what his needs are. I know how much of a mess he is and how he's been doing his books forever and didn't know what he was doing. And there's going to be hours of back work to,
Oh,
get
yeah.
him brought up to speed, all those sort of things. So I'm looking at somebody who, for one thing, they told me when they applied for the position, this is why I want this position. So that's got to seem to me that they prepared to meet me. They prepared about that client to meet me. I've had contractors before that I watched their video. It was great. Can't wait to meet them. I get on the phone. Oh, you know what? I didn't have time to listen to the discovery call. I have no idea what this client wants. I'm like, well, you know what? Then maybe we'll work again later, but I don't really have time to explain it to you when we gave you the tools. So you've got to come prepared. You've got to come prepared to talk to the CSC about why you are the best person to take this engagement. And the way our process works, I don't talk to 12 people. I mean, our placement folks do such a fabulous job. I may only talk to 1 or 2 people and have to make a decision off of that. And I'll tell you, there's been a lot of times when I had to call the placement person back and say, how do I choose between these 2 people? You have just put 2 fabulous people in front of me. And we talk through the best thing, and then I end up going with my gut. So you got to impress me. You got to impress the CSC by being prepared.
Yeah, it's kind of like what makes what makes an applicant stand out, and then what makes a coworker stand out. You have to, obviously, especially because y'all's dynamic is a little different, where you are on the team, but then like you're kind of on the bench, right? And so there's still going to be this applying yourself, maybe not applying in the traditional sense, but applying yourself to stay engaged in Belay. And so I think that I think you described it well about what it would be like to have success and build that book faster, like y'all saying, 1 client at a time, but hustle through getting that client ready, and then you can take that next client depending on how much you want to do. Well, so I've been through all of the questions that I've written. There's a lot of questions in this chat I'm going to go through. If there are other questions that people have, type them in and I will try to get to them. First one is it possible for a brand new bookkeeper to contract with you?
Yeah, so the cards are going to be a little more stacked against you. You're going to have to show up really well in that video assessment and sell us that your soft skills are telling us that you deserve a shot, when maybe your hard skills are lacking if you don't have proven experience being a bookkeeper. So it's not a no, it's just you better come ready. Show us your grit. Show us what you've done to learn how to be a great bookkeeper. I would say we may direct you to the accounting clerk role and let you serve a client there really well. And once you've proven that you can handle, the basics of that role, we could then send you the bookkeeping skills assessment and have you also add the service line of bookkeeping with us at Belay.
That I think that's a great, that's kind of how it works in the industry. You got to kind of start with that maybe simpler role. So it's great that y'all do have that more starter role. I remembered I forgot a question. Can people serve their own clients when they're also working for Belay, or do you commit to saying you're not going to have your own, like my company's Heritage Business Services? Do I get to keep being Heritage Business Services for 10% of my time or 50% of my time and y'all for 50%? How does that work?
Absolutely. That's one of the beautiful things about working at Belay. And it's why a lot of our bookkeepers come to us. They can do their own thing on the side, but know that they're under this umbrella at Belay. And if they want 3 clients, they'll have 3 clients. If 1 client for some reason drops off at Belay, we're going to find you another one. We're going to make sure that what your availability is filled and met. So that's kind of the beauty, is some people like to do both and.
Awesome.
Totally up to you. Yeah.
Sierra is asking, how many positions are you hiring for?
Yeah, we are hiring all the time for a bookkeeping role. The clients are just pouring through the door. So we don't have a limit. Come through. If you're qualified, we'll talk. We are always hiring.
Yeah.
Please come. Please be interested. As a CSC, please come.
So I'm just thinking about how COVID has changed the landscape of a lot of these businesses realizing that they can work virtually. And so it's the demand for bookkeepers, I think, is going up, but the demand for virtual bookkeepers, I think, for sure has gone up. That like you don't have to go to a brick and mortar store anymore to get the help that you need. So, Sierra, glad you asked. I hope that this position sounds appealing to you. Make sure that you connect with Madison and Susan. We're going to get their contact information in the next couple minutes whenever I finish this Q&A, y'all. So we'll stay tuned. Next question is, do you accept accounting credentials from different countries? So say they're still US and they meet that qualification. What about other countries? CPA equivalent, I suppose, or I know like Australia has like the ICB, I think, or England has the ICB International. Anyway, whatever. Credentials from other countries. Yes.
Susan, what do you think? I mean, for me, if you're US based now and you can do the job, yes. Like to me, it doesn't matter where your schooling took place.
That's correct. It's really, it's as much about the experience, the proven demonstrated experience. And part of that comes through the testing and the vetting process up front.
For sure.
Next question. Juana is a military spouse and she moves. And if she starts with y'all and then moves overseas, does she have to stop?
So if we want you to be US based. If you have clientele that you're supporting and you need to head overseas and your clientele is comfortable with you continuing to support them potentially in a different time zone and working through the difficulties that could come with that,
right?
They're not just going to cut you off because you're moving, as long as you continue to have a US-based address. Now, if your US-based address goes away, that's going to be a different conversation. Okay. However, we're not going to contract with you if you are currently abroad for the next 2.5 years. We would say, hey, you're a great contender. Talk to us when you're back in the US. And the main reason is our clients are US based and we want to eliminate as many variables that could lead to this not being successful. And time zone's a huge part of that. It's not that we want to discriminate against any other country. It's about the success of these engagements and then being able to be long-term. So that's why we want you US-based.
Okay. Do you do any training after hire? And if you hire a bookkeeper, then after a while, and the hire's interested in payroll or, maybe payroll / maybe cash forecasting, other services, do you train?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as an independent contractor, you're going to be responsible for owning your professional development. Now, when you come on board, we're going to pair you with a mentor for the first 60 days. You're going to learn a lot about how to navigate being a bookkeeper virtually. However, we're not going to train you on doing payroll. That's something you're going to need to learn on your own. You have a community, though, that is more than willing to help you navigate these things and tell you great tools and resources and all the things. But BELAY, you're not a W-2 employee of a corporation where we are doing professional development and training. It's a 1099 contractor. You're coming with the skills and you're owning all of that yourself. Okay.
Edgar, who apparently is impressed with y'all, is asking if, since 1099 can't be hired from California for y'all, are there any other ways of being involved with BELAY? I'm guessing y'all just have like a regular job board too, right? For the full-time people?
Yeah, we do. You have to be in the state of Georgia to work on our corporate team though right now. So sorry, Edgar. If you want to move
to Georgia.
Move to Nevada, move to Oregon, move to Arizona, and we got you.
Okay, so you can also be hired full-time if you're in Nevada, Arizona, or Oregon?
No, as a contractor.
Oh, as a contractor. Gotcha. Delma is asking about, is there a timeline for how long you keep the accounting clerk role before being promoted to bookkeeper?
It's really not a career ladder kind of thing. It can be like for a new bookkeeper who just wants to see do I really want to do this and serve virtually. Each engagement stands on its own. So if if you were serving as an accounting clerk and that client said, you know what, I'm losing my accountant, I'm losing my bookkeeper, would you be interested in more hours? Therefore, becoming my full-time bookkeeper, you're going to be the first person we're going to ask.
Okay.
Before we post it out on the job board, because you already have the relationship with the client. But as far as serve as a accounting clerk for the first, 6 months or whatever, and then be promoted, independent contractors are not promoted.
Gotcha.
It's just the nature of the business.
Yeah, you can add the service line. So you could serve for 2 different service lines, accounting clerk and bookkeeping at Belay. And how quickly you could potentially go from just being an accounting clerk to being an accounting clerk and a bookkeeper is really going to depend on you. Okay. And how quickly you demonstrate those skills, your CSC's feedback on how successful you've been. There's no set time limit on that.
And I will say too that our accounting clerk offering is still fairly new in our portfolio. So we haven't had a lot of clients pick up on just that because most of our clients need the full board bookkeeping. But there are some from time to time that just want that. So don't be afraid to take the account. If you think you can do if you're on this, you already care about bookkeeping, right? If you're listening to this interview. So apply, take the assessment, see if you can't be a bookkeeper, and then you choose the size of your engagement. You just don't jump in and do job costing on your first engagement. You can start being a bookkeeper who does journal entries and bank reconciliations and run reports that are standard out of QuickBooks, and you're successful because you built that relationship with the client. So don't feel like you have to have an accounting degree, but you got to understand business.
Yep. All right. One last question. We said Juana's asking, can we be paid through our company or under our name?
Yeah, so if you're alluding to having like an LLC, something to that effect, you can absolutely put that down, or you could put your name. So it's flexible.
Okay. Y'all, if it looks like we've answered most of the questions, there are questions about what states. I'm going to point you to the regular Belay website, and you're going to be able to see the very short list. There's like 4 or 5 states that you can't live in, and that's your job. Your first way to impress is to sniff that out on your own. But it's almost the entire U.S. is available as for working for Belay. So be encouraged. All right. Well, the questions we've hit them all that I can see. And sorry if we didn't. Again, if you have another question in the Get Hired Facebook group, which is the subgroup of Bookkeeping Side Hustle Group, reach out to me if you can't find that. And actually, I'll link to that group below. There will be a recruiter there to answer a lot of these questions. Be sure to apply via the link, bookkeepingsidehustle.com/Belay. On that page, there's a big red button that says, I want to work for Belay. And you just click that, and that'll get you started. And then on the application, if you would put that you heard about it from the Bookkeeping Side Hustle community, that would be great. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I think we're pretty much done. This has been such a rich interview. I'm excited that I learned so much. I didn't know. I deliberately kind of tried to not know as much. So whenever I would, I'd be like, oh, so I would know what people feel like when they're hearing it and know what questions people might have. So these sound like great opportunities, y'all. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you. Oh, I wanted to ask about getting in touch with y'all. If so, are y'all on LinkedIn or anything like that?
Yeah,
I am. Just spell my name right, and you'll find me.
All right, y'all.
I am on LinkedIn.
Same.
I think and are y'all open for people like reaching out, building the network that way? So I think that'd be a great way, y'all, to start to make those connections at Belay. And we appreciate you very much. We've got a lot of thanks coming in from the comments as well. So I appreciate y'all, ladies, and have a great afternoon. And keep hustling, everybody. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.